because I have one ear that's not quite working right. I slept on it wrong, and it hasn't been right all day. It's had that perpetual water sound all day.
Two halves of a whole hearing.
Yeah.
I'll be back in just a second.
Okay, bye.
I am back.
That was 2 halves of a whole second. Wait a minute, did you say 2 halves of a whole second?
I said I'll be back in a second.
Did I
2 halves of a whole hearing?
Yeah, I said that.
Statement about ears.
And then the next, Josh, are you okay?
Which you acknowledged.
I think I just had a stroke.
Jay, no. Do you need me to come over there and make sure you're okay?
Maybe.
Jay. Shadows of the Empire was published today.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, the Jedi returned.
Did they?
Abruptly.
It showed up out of nowhere. Knocked down my door and everything. It was frankly very terrifying.
Hey, the Jedi are back. Get in here.
Ben, how was your watch?
It was good. It's my typical Return of the Jedi watch. It started off, I was like, this is pretty good. And then at some point near the end, I was just like, I'm really tired of Star Wars. And that's how my watch went. It was great.
That's every watch for me. Chris, how was your watch?
I really like this movie.
That's the first time you've ever responded positively to this movie in the history of the podcast.
I just really like this movie. It's a good movie.
Every time.
I'm on record as saying it's the best Star Wars movie. I don't know.
You've never said this before. I'm fascinated. Does it have anything to do with you being on an astral journey on your couch for the 4 hours today?
No, it's just a good movie. I really like all the Jabba's palace stuff. It's just a good movie. Harrison Ford's got that sweet camo trench coat. Judo flips a stormtrooper on Endor. Like, it's a good movie. It's in pieces. This is a good movie.
I put on the movie today around 1 o'clock, and I was fine throughout the entire Vader part. And then as they did the close zoom in on 3PO and R2-D2, I got like this overwhelming feeling over my body, and then I took a deep breath and I just exhaled and said out loud, "Here we go again." And about 2 minutes later I made note of it because I think that's exemplary of how my watch went. It was not a good watch. Towards the end I was feeling better about it, but I do not like all the Tatooine stuff.
I came to a very depressing realization today. Well, I came to it a while ago, but it hit home today. And I put this in the Discord, actually. I just go to the Discord, I go, I realize I quote Star Wars without even knowing it anymore.
You do.
And Jay goes, I thought you did that on purpose. I go, it started on purpose. But now anymore, I'll be like talking to my coworkers and I'll say something or just say something to myself and they'll just hear me go, God damn it.
The Obama episode, at the end, without you even realizing it, you quoted the "I will do what I must" Obi-Wan
I guarantee
line.
you I probably realized it, like,
okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. I'm so fucking... We're doing repairs at my place of work because the one floor screwed up, so we're ripping out the floor and putting a new one back in. So I walked in, I looked at the half ripped up floor this morning, and I go, well, this is where the fun begins. And then my coworker just heard me throw a crowbar on the floor and leave the room. It's gotten to a point where my friend Redacted, I was talking
friend
to them.
Of the show Redacted.
Friend of the show Redacted.
I was talking to them, and I was like, what was it? I said, oh, it's beautiful. And they just heard me yell, fuck. And they're like, that wasn't even a Star Wars quote. I go, yeah, Rogue One. It's like, that's not even one you watch every week. I'm like, I know.
Oh, God. There is, there's this sequence of events in Jabba's palace when Luke is about to get dropped into the Rancor pit, and then like right after he gets dropped in, where Lando is looking at Luke and looking at Leia and looking at everyone that he can see in that moment with just panic, like, all right, we've gone off script. What do I do? Where are we? What are we? This was not in the briefing.
Spiritually, I'm with Lando Calrissian in Jabba's palace.
It's like panicked confusion. Like, I don't know where to go.
It just goes to show they didn't have a good plan.
It's like you can just see like here, like the eyes, and he's just like.
What the fuck, guys? I trusted you. I went behind enemy lines and I trusted you. What's going on?
Luke's getting eaten.
The scene a little bit later, right before the lightsaber gets fired at Luke, might be the most extra John Williams has ever been, because of just the horn that he uses every time the movie transitions to someone else's face. Just like, doom, doom, doom. It's really, I don't know why, but I was laughing really hard at that today. It's just extra as fuck.
I just picture like, old reliable, and it's just a horn.
Boom. 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 I had an experience this watch actually towards the end of the movie. I got really excited because I discovered this thing that nobody has ever discovered before, where Luke is like looking at his hand because he had just cut off Vader's hand, and the lightsaber to the side was actually phasing through, the lightsaber edited in was phasing through the railing. And I was like, oh, that's really exciting. I got up and I took a picture and I sent it to everybody. And I was like, man, I just discovered something entirely new. I sat down and about 3 minutes later, I'm like, wait a minute. So I hit control search on my notes, and I'm like, I've brought up this exact point before on this exact episode of Return of the Jedi on this exact podcast. Time is a flat circle, and I am riding the rim.
No, you see what it is the photons from the railing are actually curving around the lightsaber blade. And
let's not spend a lot of time on this because we've literally talked about it before.
No, I'm just saying there's gotta be like some fucking Wikipedia article writer totally like has some kind of answer to that, because this is what Star Wars is.
I mean, it's pre-Legends, so they absolutely do. If it was post-Legends, they would not be.
They have one of two continuities. It's got to be in one of them.
Whoever put Luke's robot hand on is a dickhead, because they clearly put pain receptors on it for some reason.
Yeah.
When he gets shot in the robot hand, he goes, like he feels like, why would you put pain receptors in a fake hand? Like, isn't that one of the advantages of having a fake hand, is not feeling pain in it?
Well, yeah, but like pain is just like your body's response to like, oh, dangerous thing, maybe I shouldn't be here. So also, I feel like not having pain receptors would just be like, oh, whoops, I accidentally like damaged my fake arm because I had it sitting on a stove and didn't realize it.
Also, we live in a world where droids were giving pain receptors, so I guess it's just the default. But speaking of that scene, so the guy that shoots Luke's hand, he's behind Luke. Luke's entire back is turned to him. He's not paying any attention to him. He's stuck in a position where he's holding his lightsaber over his head, fully committed to whatever is happening in front of him. And this man with a blaster pistol has the option to shoot him in the spine and cripple him, has the option to shoot him in the back of the head, has the option to shoot him in the back of the leg and topple him over, and he shoots him in the hand. The hand that holds the lightsaber that can reflect things. He chooses specifically the hand to shoot him in.
You see, he was a Fallout character, and he just like popped into VATS. He was trying to go for the disarm.
Yeah, but if he wouldn't go for the disarm, he could have shot him like in the back of the knee and kind of just like toppled him over. He probably would have lost it. Like, it was just a weird decision. Like, he could have killed him from any of 5 or 6 different trajectories, and he chose the hand because the movie needed to show that he had a robot hand now.
Just in case you forgot.
He has a robot hand.
In
Last
case you
time
forgot
on
when he
Star Wars.
traumatically got his hand cut off by his dad.
Oh.
God.
There's a point in the movie right at the beginning, or no, it's not right at the beginning, it's after the Tatooine stuff, where the Emperor arrives. I wanted to point out, because I've never pointed it out, you know how there's stormtroopers on either side lined up?
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of knows that most of those stormtroopers aren't there. They created a combination of CGI that came later and matte paintings of stormtroopers lined up that
Yeah.
they put onto the scene. I don't think we've mentioned it on this podcast, so I figured I would mention it. I also figured I would mention it because I realized that George was automating the role of the actor way before the prequels. Because he didn't want to sign, or he didn't want to have, 50
Who needs extras when we have artists?
Who needs extras when we have one artist? I can pay one artist for the price of 60 extras. When I saw it, I was kind of like, that's probably why there are no actual clone trooper armor in Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones. That's probably why it's all CGI. Because who needs to hire 60 extras in clone trooper armor when you can hire one CGI man and take away his food, his water, and lower the oxygen? Like, it all makes sense.
I think the better question is, so who needs an artist when you have a CGI man? It's just the natural conclusion.
He's automating the film industry in the same way that factory work is being automated. Really, he's ahead of the capitalist curve.
He's ahead of the curve.
He's automating the creative arts now. Really, it's quite impressive. Jesus Christ.
George, this whole scene where you have the camera panning up to show all the clones, he's like, oh yeah, we'll do it in a fucking computer.
Just hire Tamara Morrison. We'll get him to do a bunch of neck up shots and on blue screen. It'll work out fine.
Get some of those dorks that made that last video game. Whatever the fuck it was. We've made a video game recently, probably, right? All right, fucking get some of those dorks.
Don't tell them I'm lowering the oxygen.
Don't tell them it's for a movie. That we'll pay them less. We'll pay them the video game rate.
The video game rate.
They give them like $10, right? Like $10 in a Subway sandwich.
Hot dog and a handshake.
Video game dorks. What is this douchebag George Lucas character I've created? That one got away from me quick.
Jesus Christ. And then you have the polar opposite being the Clone Wars with Dave Filoni, where they're like, yeah, these are all CGI cartoon characters, but we're gonna make everyone look different. That's noticeable, and we'll have a few in the background that look the same. It's like the polar. Let's individualize all our CGI.
It's because, like I said, Dave Filoni.
But I mean, at the
Dave
same time,
Filoni understands George Lucas better than George Lucas. Dave Filoni has ascended, I think, to what George Lucas always aimed for.
Yeah, just look at him. He hired one voice actor for 90% of the cast.
That's some George shit. That is some George shit.
Before we move
You
on.
just got Lucas.
You just got Lucas.
You just got Lucas.
I hate this so much.
Oh, this is a beautiful thing we put into the world.
The spider leg droid as the 3PO and the 3PO and
R3PO.
The one, the only,
the 3PO.
3PO.
That's just 3PO when he decides that he's gonna start doing magician tricks after what happened with Luke.
Watch me make this hand disappear.
What they don't tell you about the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens
God, no.
is that C-3PO became a practicing magician because he was convinced he did magic, so why wouldn't he become a practicing magician?
Halfway through an elaborate magic trick, he lost his left arm, and that's where the red arm comes from.
Confirmed. Thank you.
This is my headcanon. I cannot be convinced otherwise.
I'm glad that headcanon rhymes with fresh cannon. That makes me very happy.
I mean, they use the same word. I don't know if that's really rhyming.
The spider droid's legs barely move as it kind of just as 3PO gets creeped out by it and kind of runs away. It's like its spider legs barely move as it walks, so it's almost like it's just fucking floating around. Except the legs just go like they twitch just barely enough that it looks like they're moving, but they're not like taking steps. And it's my new favorite droid in the entire original trilogy. It's just so dumb in a fantastic way.
I actually have some news for you, Josh, about those droids. I thought this was true, but I looked it up to double check. So Jabba's palace used to be a monastery.
To what?
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Is this
But it used
Legends
to be a
or
kind
canon?
of I know it was Legends. This may be canon still. Oh, we don't know much about them in canon. There's a sentence about them on canon. But this fact still remains about them. Those little vats below them, they hold brains.
Neat.
So I believe the monks like eventually just transplanted their brains, a la like Fallout New Vegas level shit, into the fucking robots
So
or these droids.
So what you're saying is that all of these droids are just better dog meat?
There is no one better than dog meat.
Yeah, you're right.
Dog meat's the goodest boy.
The goodest boy.
I'm like, if I have a child, I'm gonna name them human meat.
No! Why would you say that out loud as a thing that you said even jokingly?
Because it's fucked up that Bethesda's just like, let's give you a dog companion.
This is a forever podcast. The likelihood is high that one day you will have children and you will still be doing this podcast, and they will go back, and then less than 8 months into the podcast, they go back and hear that one of their beta names was fucking human meat.
If my possible future children want to sift through hours of me talking Star Wars bullshit just to find out I joked about their name being human meat, they are more than welcome to. Speaking of hands and fresh canon, we have some fresh canon about hands.
Cannon!
This is something I found out during the weekend, and Jay actually sent me a blurb telling me to remember.
No, I forgot about this.
A recent Star Wars comic. Let me see if I can pull up a source.
Oh no, I forgot about this. I specifically sent this to Ben and said, you need this for fresh canon.
Yep. There is oh my god, pop-ups. There is a recent Star Wars comic in which Darth Vader, I believe he's on Exegol, and Darth Vader is looking at Palpatine's cloning facility, and Darth Vader's talking about it, how clones can be used to make many things, and the one panel like pans out, and it's Darth Vader in the background with a blue vat with a severed right hand. And the panel says, I can use it to make anything. The implication being Darth Vader's going to make a Luke clone. And it's all kinds of weird. I don't know how to feel about it.
So they're gonna redo an old storyline.
Yep.
There's also people theorizing that was the basis for the Snoke clones.
I mean, yeah, it looks like Exegol. The panel that I sent to you looks like Exegol.
No, it was Exegol.
So Vader, they're now gonna fuck up the OT. So you're telling me Vader died after throwing the Emperor down the reactor shaft? And is it gonna tell Luke, hey, he had this cloning facility on Exegol. You might want to look into that.
With what last breaths would he be able to say that?
And also, like, that was kind of already established, because he had the one Wayfinder. Like, the whole opening shot of The Rise of Skywalker is dedicated to Kylo finding Vader's Wayfinder.
His concern isn't Exegol, I don't think. His concern is Vader knowingly knew As
Well, yeah, my concern is Vader was on Exegol. Like,
Yeah.
Vader's like on Exegol, knows about it, all of this. It's implied that they're making a Luke clone. This feels like way more, oh, let me look upon you with my own eyes. Oh, yes, your sister, and I did that. No, fucking, hey, buddy, Palpatine clones. There's a clone of you too. Like,
well, I mean, that could also be said about the old canon. Vader knew about that too.
Palpatines?
Yeah.
He did.
As far as I remember, yeah, I could be wrong. You can call me out if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he knew. I'm pretty sure there was an OT dated book that kind of said that he knew. Because I mean, like, Mara Jade knew. I think in the book where she found out. I could be wrong. I'm probably talking out of my ass. It's been a long time.
Well, you're
Fun
actually
fact.
talking out of your mouth.
Mara Jade technically, well,
As far as you know.
I guess not anymore. Mara Jade technically in this movie.
What?
Yeah, she's not technically in the movie anymore.
She's not
Oh,
technically
she's
in the
not
movie, but
technically
she
in the
was
movie.
technically, yeah.
Yeah.
She was technically supposed to be in Jabba's palace.
One of the damn
Technically
yeah.
not canon.
Technically not
Former
canon.
I miss Mara Jade Skywalker, man.
So apparently there's people theorizing. I have to really go into this rabbit hole one day, but there's people theorizing that Luke's hand then was used to create Snoke and all the Snoke clones that we see.
So.
Which I don't really buy, because why?
Yeah, that's really dumb.
Is it any dumber than anything else in the sequel trilogy, though?
Okay, this goes right back to my Snoke complaint about Rise of Skywalker. He had like 8 Snokes in fucking vats, and he didn't use them. And now you're telling me they're fucking Luke Skywalker, like they're Skywalker blood clones, and he didn't use them? That's a dumb theory, and I hope it's not canon.
Like, it would have been a good explanation, too, though. Like, it's something like if Episode 9 we find out, oh, Snoke was a failed clone of Luke, like, I would have accepted that answer.
I mean, yeah. The theory that I've heard is that. Yes, Ben.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at this article and they're going like point by point on certain things, and like the hand in the vat is clearly the severed right hand of a Caucasian person, and the one point says, "Can it not be any other severed hand? Could it be Mace Windu's?"
I don't like that I can see Wikipedia in the reflection of your glasses perfectly.
Oh, it's not Wikipedia.
Oh, God. Anyway, the rumor that I've heard is that everything they're gone very much MCU with the Star Wars shows that they do on Disney Plus, and the rumor that I've heard is that it's all kind of funneling in a direction of doing their own interpretation on the Thrawn trilogy. The best thing that could happen if they go that direction is that they recast Jorah Sabath as Snoke. Like, Snoke is just Jorah Sabath.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna like remake the Thrawn trilogy. It's just we know one character is looking for Thrawn so far. That's pretty much it.
What I'm saying is I think they're going. It's funny because Kathleen Kennedy, when she started making the hi Kathleen Kennedy, return our emails. You mysteriously
What's up, Kathy?
She said at the beginning, well, we have nothing to work off of. It's not like the MCU. But it kind of seems like the Disney Plus stuff on the MCU is slowly working its way into doing the same thing that the MCU does, which is take ideas from the comics and reinterpret them in ways that don't necessarily look at all like what they did in the comics. I got a feeling whatever they're doing with Thrawn is going to be essentially that.
I mean, I got zero complaints about that, especially.
No.
I mean, you know what I don't like, and this is not. We're gonna move away from Return of the Jedi now and just talk about Star Wars in general.
I think
for
we've
a bit,
already
'cause I
done
gotta
that.
What I don't like is what seems to be the direction they're going to take this, which is live action, which means recasting.
Yeah.
Like, the Ahsoka thing, I've had enough time to just be like, all right, whatever. But it pisses me off because there's some leaks. And so if you care about Star Wars Battlefront in a way where you don't want to know about a possible Battlefront 3, then spoiler warning, I guess. The leaks from Battlefront 3 are showing that we're possibly getting Ahsoka as a hero in the game, but it's going to be Rosario Dawson Ahsoka. And just Rosario Dawson Ahsoka. And it's like...
It is what it is.
Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. We've had this, we've discussed this in the past. Like, Ahsoka's a hard one because the character is so ingrained with the voice, and it's, I don't know. With the Thrawn trilogy, doing any kind of... I worry about them doing the same thing with Ezra, with Thrawn, like that's... if they're going to do a live action, that would be my only concern.
I get it. Then there's the Luke issue. Because if you're going to do a Thrawn trilogy remake, Luke's got to be in there somewhere. And how do you do that?
Well, it looks like it's already off in a different direction, because Ahsoka is... Spoilers for Mandalorian Season 2. Ahsoka's the one tracking him down. So, that's what I was trying to say before. Like, it's already off in a separate direction that the Thrawn trilogy is going to have a hard time remaking that. So I feel like they're going to do a different interpretation almost completely.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be the MCU style interpretation. Almost none of the MCU content they range from not exactly like the comics and literally nothing at all like the comics. I'm just saying that it's probably going to be somewhere in that spectrum.
Like, MCU Civil War where they fight one time in an airport.
There's Jessica Jones levels of Faithful, where the only thing that's really different are the characters around her, because you can't use Captain Marvel. And then there's Civil War Faithful, that it's literally nothing like it, but it actually might have been better for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's already rumors of the guy who was in Aladdin being cast as Ezra for live action, which, I mean, he's got the look for it.
Yeah.
I didn't see Aladdin, so I know virtually nothing about this actor.
I'm a Raul Coley pusher, so I'm very much on the Raul Coley as Ezra Bridger train.
Oh, is that who played that Anakin? Fuck yeah, okay.
No, that was now the Aladdin guy is someone different, but I know Raul Coley got wrapped up in he likes to stir shit up on Twitter and had people swept up in a shitstorm on Twitter a few months ago. But I mean, he would be great. But
who the fuck is? I was trying to figure out who Raul Coley is, and I don't know how to spell. I ended up on a fucking Pixar wiki for a Cars character.
He was on the show iZombie. He was in The Haunting of the second season of that Haunting on Hill House show.
And he has one of the top 5 Twitters of anybody on the internet.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
He's pretty great. But no, all I was trying to say was, if they do that, have Snoke kind of fill in the role of Jorah Sabath. And I think that would be beneficial for both the story and Snoke.
Listen, it'll all be worth it if I got Talon Card back. So,
that'd be pretty dope.
I'm good with them redoing this as long as it means I get Talon Card back.
Yeah, but there's a good chance that you won't get the card you want. That wasn't meant to be a pun.
Show me that AO3. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Show Me That AO3, a new segment brought to us by @SWAO3 Tag, a wonderful friend that goes through the biggest fanfiction website on the internet, Archive of Our Own, and goes through the pre-written tabs that people put into their stories and comes up with out-of-context wonderfulness. So for those of you that have not been around for this game before, I'm going to give everyone 5 out of context AO3 tags, and they are going to be forced to guess which one is false, while the other 4 are real. Are you prepared?
Nope.
I'm an AO3 expert. To go way back. I did my doctoral thesis on it. Never been more prepared for anything in my life.
Oh, you're wearing a banana shirt. I thought you were wearing a ducky shirt for a second. I was about to freak out.
Are we almost
That's
40
bananas.
minutes in and you're just now seeing the bananas?
Yes.
Me and Ben are on a fruit theme tonight.
That's bananas.
All right, number 1. Does the offer reference The Mummy Returns? You betcha. Number 2. Would sire and girl technically be considered a medieval daddy kink? Number 3. Wrote this while waiting on my food at Friendly's on my birthday. Family wasn't happy about it. Number 4. And yes, I did need to use a lyric from Carly Slay Jepsen as the title. Thank you very much. Number 5. This tag only exists because I don't want the last tag to be butt plugs. They're nice, okay, but they sound so inelegant.
It's number 4.
It's number 4.
Let me go through them again, just so
It's number 4.
Let me just go through them again.
It's number 4.
Let me just go through them again.
Number 4.
Let me go through them again because we talked over the last one, okay? And then we'll tell. Number 1. Does the offer reference The Mummy Returns? You betcha. Number 2. Would sire and girl technically be medieval daddy kink? Number 3. Wrote this while waiting on my food at Friendly's on my birthday. Family wasn't happy about it. Number 4. And yes, I did need to use lyric from Carly Slay Jepsen as the title. Thank you very much. Number 5. This tag only exists because I don't want the last tag to be butt plugs. They're nice, okay, but they sound so inelegant. So you both guessed 4.
It's number 4. It's 4. It's 4 more than it's ever been 4 in the history.
Wrong, bitches! Wrong! I tricked your asses!
Nah, Jay made 2 fake ones just to fall back when we guessed number 4.
Wrong, bitches. Wrong, bitches. I wrote this while waiting on my food at Friendly's on my birthday. Family wasn't happy about it because it's a semi-true story about an entirely different kind of writing.
Whoa, hold on.
You
What
want
was
to hear
that last bit of information you threw at us?
So the one that says, wrote this while waiting on my food at Friendly's on my birthday, family wasn't happy about it, is actually based on a story when I was 12. I was hyperfixated on writing Animorphs books to add to the series. So I brought paper and pen to the Friendly's, and I was just writing, like, while we were waiting, and my family was like, can you just put that away and just spend time with us? And I feel bad I didn't now. But I was hyperfixating, okay? But you were both wrong. I knew I would get you with Carly.
We got it. We got it.
Dirty, rotten trickery.
I will put it in the chat as proof.
Lies. Deception. Trickery. God.
So that was Show Me That AO3. We would love it if you would go follow the wonderful folks at SWAO3 tags for their kindness in allowing us to do this segment. Thank you so much.
Holy shit, Jay actually got a tag to go up on AO3.
Just because I am Carly Rae Jepsen's one fan does not mean that I either am lying about this, or that there aren't other Carly Rae Jepsen fans, or that I went and wrote the story myself, which the third could be a distinct possibility, but I didn't. I'm telling the truth.
I'm really disappointed by this fucking information.
What I'm learning is I tricked you all, and you were wrong. I knew as soon as I put it in that you would all hyperfixate on it, and I was right.
Oh yes, how dare we hyperfixate on Carly Rae Jepsen for 2 minutes.
It's in which it pertains
Surely
to
the longest anyone's ever hyperfixated on Carly Rae Jepsen.
I just prefer to hyperfixate on pod races.
Man, we had a nice thing going. I got to mention Carly Rae Jepsen on the podcast while also tricking you all, and I was so happy about it. And then you decide to talk about pod racing.
I could only let that joy last so long, Jay.
Bunch of bitches.
Chris just hates everyone.
General Maydean. Can I talk about General Maydean for a second?
Sure.
General Maydean, the guy that gives the last part of the report about the assault on the second Death Star and going down. He has a really specific fashion sense, and I've always been obsessed with him. And I just want to point it out real quick. The man is wearing a space polo, what essentially amounts to a space polo. And he's carrying a fucking crop. A horse crop. The man looks like he spends all of his time at a space golf course and on the side gets paid to be the worst dom that has ever existed. I'm obsessed with how bad this man looks and his fashion sense.
Listen, you don't know what his secondary job on the Death Star was.
No, on the Rebel base.
Or, yeah. That one.
Every time I've seen him from when I was little to now, his fashion sense is just super hyper specific, and the only reason why he stands out because of that is the fucking crop. Why is he carrying around a horse crop? Why is he carrying around what is essentially a stiff whip? I mean, the rest of the folks wear something similar, but it's like a combination of the crop and like the way he walks and the way he talks and how it's a little bit bigger on him than everyone else. It's a lot. And General Maydean, what do you get up to in your spare time?
It's a little bit bigger than the rest. His stiff whip.
His stiff whip.
It's the way he walks with his stiff whip. You know, Jay's just hyper focusing on General Maydean's stiff whip.
Picture is amazing.
I found a great picture of this actor
Maydean
behind the scenes in Admiral Akbar's chair with the little like console in front of him. That's having the fucking time of his life.
He's wearing black gloves that are 3 times the size of his hands. I forgot about the gloves. That's all I got. I just wanted to point out this background man. As Ben famously said, fuck the foreground. All my homies hate the foreground because I only watch the background.
God help you lads, because I'm gonna just flood Discord one day with just pictures of this man, because there's some pictures.
I would love it.
Fantastic.
I would love it. I would love it if you did
Discord with pictures of General Stiff Whip.
General Stiff Whip.
I would love that. I would love it if General Maydean became the original trilogy. Well, there is already an original trilogy one, and it's Trinto Duaba. But like, I would love if General Maydean would be mentioned in the annals of Trinto Duaba and Hootkins and all of the other favorite background characters.
Do we have a chosen background character for the prequels?
No, we just... I mean,
this is a trick question. This is a trick question.
Shut the fuck up.
So we all know it's Ben Quadranero. Right. Mention Ben Quadranero.
This entire rotation has been an Ian McDiarmid love fest.
Oh my god,
Every rotation is the Ian McDiarmid love fest.
This fucking movie, there's one line when the fucking Emperor sits there with the straightest face. He goes, "Oh, I'm afraid the shield generator will be quite operational when you're here."
It's the same one I made.
Best shit. It's my absolute favorite thing in this movie.
That's the same one I wanted to bring up today. Literally what I was going into. It's the dry sarcasm as he just slowly sits forward, and that jaw control that you don't see a lot of outside of the prequel is just like, oh, I'm quite afraid. It's just so fucking good. Ian McDiarmid, come on our podcast. That's the dream. That's the unattainable dream, actually.
Well, first, I feel like someone would have to explain to Ian McDiarmid what a podcast is.
Yeah, probably.
And then explain to him why ours should be the first that he just looks at and goes.
All I'm hearing is we need to get some people on the inside.
Also, we need to have someone explain to him that we will only talk to him in bad Palpatine impressions the whole time. Yes, now tell us how was.
No. What we're gonna do the entire episode is just gonna be us to getting him to quote lines in different ways, just to get multiple takes of how he does it, and he will be so sick of us in the first 5.
It's when we launch Downtime Darth, and the only actual voice actor on it playing their character is Ian McDiarmid playing Palpatine.
Oh, but I want Tim Curry on that cast list.
I'll have Kathleen send an email out. I don't know. We'll workshop it. We'll get Dave on the phone. We'll get Dave on the phone.
Kathleen Kennedy replied to our emails. Ever since we said they know, you got weird about replying to us.
Yeah, man, why'd you send me that email in Chinese?
Friend of the show, Kathleen Kennedy.
That reminds me of the one time at school I had to email myself a project, and I must have left my Gmail open because one of my classmates ended up sending me an email in Hebrew.
That's fantastic.
It was actually written out and everything, and I translated it, and it was like, "This is you from the future. Send help." It was like a whole thing. And I'm realizing now, in 3 rotations, I'm probably going to compose an email to myself in Hebrew, to my past self, warning about this podcast cryptically.
That's a great project, actually. To make... Okay.
Why would it be in Hebrew? Of all the languages on the earth you could choose.
So I have an idea. That's
I used to be able to speak Hebrew. I mean...
Yeah, but, Google Translate's free, man.
Yeah, how do you think I'm going to make it? I'm just going to type out a paragraph, pop that bitch into Google Translate, and bam, bada boom, bada bing,
you can do
done.
anything.
So...
Why'd you ride your bike here today, man? I know how to ride a bike already, and branched out.
I need to say for all of our non-primary speaking English listeners, on their behalf, Google Translate is not reliable in any way, shape, or form. Do not use it that.
It's the best. No, it's great.
It don't work like that.
No, it works fantastic.
Oh, the Spanish translations are hilarious.
I know it works great because when I pop what I just translated from Google Translate back into Google Translate, It's the same thing I sent to it every time.
So, that is a great idea for content for the podcast, though. Us
sending myself emails in Hebrew.
No. Writing something down for us on 10 or 20 rotations from now to read on the podcast, to compare and contrast what it was like then versus wherever we are mentally.
Oh god, we're gonna do time. We're already too far gone for this.
I can't wait for us to get a larger fan base 30 years from now randomly from whatever TikTok sequel is or something. And for
TikTok
people to go
was already a sequel.
Well, for people to go back and watch the old content and then be commenting inside jokes from rotation 5 in rotation 30 and just leaving comments in Hebrew, and we're what's happening here?
Friend of the show, people who speak only Hebrew. But no, yeah, that's actually kind of a great idea. To, like, make the decision to write
Any of these are good ideas.
to write something out for us to read, like, way far down the line. Like, this is rotation 5. We write something out just saying what the general experience is like, and then we put it away, and then during rotation 25 or something, we bring it back out and compare it. Like, we'll be in such a different mindset by then that it'll be
like
fucking...
I'm already getting ungodly depressed about thinking about 25 full rotations of these movies.
I am having the best time, I'll have you know.
While you aggressively vape. Hey, I'm having a good time. It's better than actually watching this movie.
A showbiz, baby.
25 rotations. Just...
I mean, it's gonna happen, bud.
I know, but, like, you don't need to just throw that at me, Jay.
I'm trying to normalize it because we're stuck like this.
That's 225 movies.
Okay, now I'm having an
Jesus
existential
fucking
crisis.
Christ, don't do this to me. What the fuck is
Yeah,
wrong
that's
with
too much. That's too much. Okay, you have successfully spread the dread.
Spread the dread.
Yeah, right.
That should be the subtitle of the podcast. I know we talk about subtitling the podcast a lot. That should be the subtitle of the podcast.
It really
I'm still
should.
campaigning for 3 idiots with microphones.
I mean, one of us doesn't even use a regular recommended microphone.
No, but it's a microphone.
Weird Wikipedia. I need to stop thinking about 225 episodes. Because we've done nearly 50 so far.
What the fuck do I do with this?
225 fucking Star Wars.
Don't you fucking don't.
You're gonna get us sued, man.
Young mister.
You're gonna get us sued.
It's gonna be a double weird Wikipedia kind of night.
Let's do it.
I'm just telling you right now, because first article's already pretty beefy. Fuck. Fuck. Discord. Thank you. First article is Claudio Pozas? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Was an artist who contributed to the role-playing guide Strongholds of Resistance.
Oh, I was about to say,
that's the entire article.
I was gonna say, why do you care if you're pronouncing his name right? But it's a real person's name, so that's actually deeply important.
Yeah.
I don't
apologies.
Know.
If
how does one?
I mispronounced that.
How do you take a screenshot on a PC?
It's usually some combination of the Windows button and print screen. If you don't have a Windows, I know I use it all the time. Mine is Windows.
Oh, that's
it's
weird.
some combination of Windows, Control, and print screen.
I'll have to see if that actually worked at some point. Oh, screenshot, cool. I got a ad for the new Liam Neeson movie on this Wikipedia page.
Are you fucking serious?
Liam Neeson, the Marksman. Own it. Digital now.
I'm just being aggressively told about fucking gym programs, and you're getting fucking Liam Neeson shit?
Liam Neeson, the Marksman.
Yeah, this is from the Star Wars system we didn't play, Chris. The one that's confusing and has dice that nobody knows about.
I sure as hell don't know about them. For round 2 of Weird Wikipedia, we have Hirukia Floating City. It's on Dak, or better known as Mon Cala, where the likes of Admiral Akbar are.
It's also home to Kit Fisto's race. I forgot the name.
Is that where they're from?
Yeah, it's a dual, or it's the Quarren and the Mon Calamari are from the same planet.
He's not a Quarren.
What is the fucking Mon Calamari has 2 races? I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's Quarren.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Kit Fisto's not a Quarren.
I was incorrect. It's not Kit Fisto. I apologize. but I knew it was a dual species planet, which I always find to be cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of inner conflict between the two.
Yeah. I find it cooler when there's not inner conflict because it's so overdone, but I still love it.
Just, hey, let's have two different races and just make them fucking hate each other for whatever reason.
It would be really cool just once to have two races living on a planet.
Just like some Lucasfilm intern like years and years ago, just like, what if like, I don't know, they just have like a utopian society where they have open trade, open borders, and they just coexist and everything's great. And George Lucas throws him out of a window.
God, you've just set me up to make the fucking throw out the window meme. Do you realize that? Did you do that on purpose?
Yes.
Hiruka was a city where Mon Calamari and Quarren came together to live in harmony. Ironically, because we were just talking about how they hate each other's guts. Along with Piru, which I'm unfamiliar with and I will dig into later, took much of the World Devastator's damage during the Battle of Calamari, which is my favorite battle to say.
It's pretty great.
Just have two dishes of calamari, just fucking. That wasn't even a pun. That was just like.
It wasn't. That wasn't what I was reacting to. What I was reacting to was whatever I end up doing for the fucking MP4 for what you just said.
Resulting in a minimum of tens of thousands of deaths. Later rebuilt, Akbar moved to the city after retiring.
Ooh, this is talking about.
Back in. Hiruka the Senate was located there. In contact. Oh, it contained Berth 5B and was near Messer Reef.
Is this referring to? Yeah, this is referring to Yuuzhan Vong War, the Senate after they took Coruscant, relocated to
like
Mon Calamari.
137 ABY after that.
I don't want to derail weird Wikipedia.
That's pretty much the whole article, so feel free.
Okay. This actually leads nicely into a point I've been meaning to ask about for a while. How far do you think we are from, similar to something we talked about earlier today, to Disney just doing their own version of the Yuuzhan Vong?
I think it's going to take them a bit yet.
I have a feeling in the future we're going to see much more Kevin Feige involved in Star Wars than even we're seeing now. I will plant the seed, and maybe it'll come back true and maybe it won't. If they do the Yuuzhan Vong, I have this feeling it will be when they finally do another trilogy.
What's the thing? I feel like they're going to adapt a lot of old storylines for whoever the new cast is going to be. Whether they are able to get Daisy Ridley and John Boyega and Oscar Isaac's back. Yeah, it's
I was gonna say I think most of them didn't really have a good time.
Yeah, so. I mean, I keep seeing lots of people use the example of if they can get Harrison Ford back, they can get anyone back. But I think we might have a new standard with John Boyega. So.
Yeah. But no.
Yeah.
I think that is such a beefy concept that they could take so much from that if they're going to do it, it's going to end up being a new trilogy because like if you look at the entire Yuuzhan Vong War, that's a trilogy. Like you can do 3 2-hour movies out of that. I'd be cool with that. That'd be pretty neat. And it also works just really well with the idea of the Force in general and the idea of the series in general. Sure, it's not going to be a story of the Skywalker saga, but fuck Skywalkers. Like, we can move away from that. Just do a story that is hyper-fixated on the idea of the Force and the Jedi. That would be a fantastic 10, 11, and 12. I'd love that.
That'd be cool. I mean, like Josh said, I feel like most of the Skywalker stuff has kind of run its course.
Well, we're at a point,
in terms of, like, main movie...
Yeah. I mean, we're at a point now where it's like, yeah, we had in the mainline movies, they set Rey up as well, she's set to carry on the Jedi ways and everything, but they're using Ahsoka. They're gonna bring Ezra back into the picture. Like there's other characters they can use if they need to start again. Like they don't have to build more new characters for a new trilogy.
Yeah. And the other thing to me is, if it were me, if I was the billionaire that works for Disney, I wouldn't work for Disney. But if I did, and I wouldn't be a billionaire, but if I was somehow put in that position and I was put in charge of Star Wars, I would not make any more core Star Wars movies. But I would absolutely create an ancillary, separate from these trilogy about the Yuuzhan Vong, because it's such a rich idea to draw from. But we live in a world that's absolutely going to have a 10, 11, and 12, and probably a 13, 14, 15, and it's just going to keep going. I get the feeling they'll wait like 5, 10 years, but it's just going to keep going. So why not that story? And they're going in that direction already, so it just seems natural in a way.
What happens when, I think we talked about this early on, what happens when they do another trilogy? Does it get added on to the fucking Warlock Pact here?
I think it does.
It better.
Yeah, it's got to. But the question is, do we do it in whatever the format of DVD is at the time, which I imagine will just be some kind of digital?
It'll probably be on Disney Plus. I mean,
yeah. Do we do it when each one comes out, or do we wait until all three come out?
Well, by that point, they'll probably have diversified the streaming platforms so much now that it's just Star Wars Plus. So we'll be paying for Star Wars Plus in addition to our MCU Plus and Marvel Legacy Plus, and
it's it really is going in that direction. But no, I don't know, because what do? You definitely can't add that to the rotation as soon as it comes out. I imagine we would have to do an emergency episode, and then when it's out, you add it to the.
There is something I love so much about the fact that we've titled one emergency episode, and that's going to be a recurring theme, because generally the way it happens is we remember the week before we're supposed to fucking put it out that we have to do it, so then we record it like 4 days before. So it really is an emergency for everyone involved.
Shit.
The one that was the most of an emergency was the Rogue One episode, because we forgot we had committed to doing it for May 4th until a couple days before.
May the Force snuck up on us.
Jay randomly just goes, hey, are we still doing this? And we just collectively went, fuck.
Because I was going the same way. I had forgotten until the end of April. I was like, oh no, we got to do a May 4th thing. We should really do a May 4th. And that wasn't titled an emergency episode, even though it really should have been. No, I feel like that's something we'll have to readdress when it happens, because I'm just going to accept it's going to be a thing that happens. But really it comes down to, do we add it when it comes out that you can easily see it at home? Is that when we add it? Or do we wait until all 3 movies are out and then add it? Because this idea was in my brain before Rise of Skywalker came out, but I wasn't going to start it before Rise of Skywalker. I wanted to wait until all 9 were out.
We wait until it's available in our, Musk Tech brain implant that we stream all of our entertainment from.
God.
I mean, the Earth could very much die before we even get to that point, so. This has been so.
We're just a floppy disk floating past a Tesla in space at this point. We're just, at a certain point, that'll be true. Just a floppy disk full of bullshit. Floating past.
Why specifically a floppy disk? Do floppy disks become?
I just imagine you using floppy disks. I don't know why. If we're being honest, it's you specifically. Everything I know about you technology-wise leads me to assume you have a stack of floppy disks with our show on it.
There's floppy disks in the house. This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. Good night. There's a pack that for some reason we took from the old house that we moved out of before I went to high school into the new house. So it sits down here below the desk, so it's technically very close to where Star Wars Every Week Forever happened. Hey, if you enjoyed us, thought we were funny, like our content, or just really love our suffering and want to hear more of it, we're available all over the place and release episodes every Wednesday around 12 Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Player FM, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and in a unique format over on YouTube that our fans seem to dig. You can join in on the conversation over on Twitter as well, at SWEWF. We're quite active and love to hear from our fans. Sincerely, though, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with us on this car crash of a ride.